YouTube. I hope y'all are having a blessed day. It is a steamy, steamy day here on the mountain, and I have done enough sulking about Sanjay going back up to New York and leaving me alone for my birthday. I'm going to console myself with ice cream cake. So we are here today with part 2 of our 4-patch kaleidoscope quilt, and as you can see, it is right here behind me. I have laid it out in a pleasing manner. It is very, very hot in here, and because my blocks are on the design wall, I can't use a fan because I turned one on and all of a sudden it was snowing quilt blocks in here, so that's a problem. And I apologize if I'm sweaty and flabbergasted. I'm going to walk you through the process of how we're going to do this. And then I will begin, and I will begin at the sewing machine with all of the blocks off the design wall and a fan blowing on me. We are going to web this entire quilt top together, and we're going to do it starting with column number 1, and I'm going to sew block 1 and 2 together. Leaving them in the machine, I'm then going to sew blocks 1 and 2 together of row 2. Leaving them in the machine, I'm going to continue all the way down these 2 columns and sew them together. Once those are all done, I will take them out of the machine and I will begin up here with column number 3, sewing that to this unit, and then sewing this block to this 2-block unit, etc., all the way down. When I get to the bottom, I will take it out of the machine and we will start again with column number 4, and we'll do rinse and repeat all the way until we get done with column 6. This is a 6 by 8 layout. Once that is done, we are going to begin to sew the rows together. We will start with rows 1 and 2, and all we have to do is match one seam. Okay, so we're going to do blocks 1 and 2 together, and we're going to start sewing from this seam to that seam. Once that intersection is matched, the seams are nested, and you've sewn that together, we will begin to worry about this intersection here. That's the way we're going to piece this entire quilt block. Don't have to worry about matching all of these intersections at the same exact time. These blocks are all basically the same size, okay, so you don't have to worry about it. They are 7.5 inch finished, I believe. Math. I started with 4-inch blocks, so 4-inch would result in 3.5 inch finished. So 3.5 inch finished and 3.5 inch finished is 7 inch. So they're 7-inch finished. Yeah, I think 7-inch finished. Math, don't do it. That's the way we're going to be doing this. I have sweat running down between my girls and I'm feeling very, very lightheaded. Next step is going to be taking down all of these blocks, and I work left to right, so I'm going to pile block 1 on the very top, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put that in a pile, and that's row 1. And then I'm going to do the same thing with rows 2 all the way through down to the bottom, row 8. And I am going to be stacking them with row number 1 on the very top, this block on the very top of row number 1, and it will be stacked on top of row number 2, etc. all the way down. I will catty corner them so I know when the rows change. And I will meet you back here at the sewing machine. I have a full bobbin. I have cleaned out my bobbin area and oiled it. And as you know, with any machine, especially a vintage machine, if you give it love, it will treat you like a queen for generations. These machines are very, very difficult to destroy unless you take absolutely no measures to keep it well oiled and lint free. And if you have not seen this machine before, this is my Singer 301. It was their first slant needle machine. It just does a straight stitch. But that is my baby. Although soon she will have something to compete with. More on that later. I have my entire quilt top stacked here, and I have used a pin to hold the rows together, and I have made them a little bit of cattywampus there so I can easily pick up the next row. So the process is going to be this. I am going to take the pin out of here and take 2 blocks, the top 2 blocks off. I will put the pin back in. I will turn the unit upside down and put it next to my machine. And then I will take the top 2 blocks off of this stack, pin them back together, and turn this upside down, set it on top of row 1. and I will continue all the way down the stack like that. And when I get to the bottom, I will know that I've got to come back to the top of my stack and start again. So we begin by taking block 1 and block 2 off the stack, and we just want to make sure we only have 2 blocks there. Leaving them right side up, putting the pin back in and putting it to the right of my sewing machine. So this is block number 1 and this is block number 2 of row 1. We're putting them right side together, matching up the edges, and this intersection will be matched using my 1/4 inch foot. Oh, she sounds so nice when she's freshly oiled. Okay, now I'm not taking this out of the machine. It's staying there. This is row number 2. I am taking blocks 1 and blocks 2 off, leaving them there, putting the pin back in this, turning it upside down and putting it on top of row number 1. This is block 1, this is block 2. Man, those blocks are pretty, aren't they? This is so much fun, even if this is your very first quilt. In fact, this is perfect for beginners. It's a 4-patch. It doesn't get any simpler. You have a little bit of math to do up front as you cut the fabric, but once you've done that, this is perfect for a beginner. That's row 2. This is row number 3. I'm taking block 1 and block 2 off and putting this upside down on top of row 2. This is row 4, block 1 and block 2, block number 1, block number 2. Ooh, isn't that pretty? This makes such an amazing quilt. People will just be flabbergasted when they see this. And they'll ask you how you did it, and you can say it was complete magic. Moving on to the next row, block 1, block 2, put the pin back. You get into this rhythm and it goes rather quickly. Block 1, block 2, match the seams. Row 6, blocks 1 and 2, pin, turn upside down, add to the stack. Block 1, block 2, nest our seams. It's not the end of the world if you can't match up those because there's no pattern forming there. And this is row 7. Pin back, turn it upside down, add it to the stack. Block 1, block 2, match up the intersection. And if you have any fullness in between these 2 blocks, you raise the piece up and the feed dogs will pull the fabric in and take up all the fullness for you. This is our last row. This is row number 8, block 1, block 2, repin, turn upside down and add to the stack. Block 1, block 2, nest your seams. Now we take this out and we pull it back up. This is row number 1. So what we're going to do is we are going to get that straightened out, and here is our stack. And because I piled them on top of each other upside down, when I turn this back over, here is row number 1. We're taking row number 1, block number 3, putting the pin back, turning it upside down, stacking it to the right of our machine, and now we have block number 3 for row 1, and we match up these seams and we sew this on just like this. Here's row 1. Here is row 2. We open it up, don't cut anything. We take block number 3, turn upside down, stack on top of row 1. And if you go like this and these two seams are both going up like this, rotate it, and now I have one going up, one going down, and they will nest nicely for you. You can do that because these blocks are not directional. That's row 2, this is row 3, and here is row 3. We take the top one off, block number 3, put the pin back, turn it upside down, lay it on the top of row 2. Block number 3. Nest those seams. Moving on to row 4, block number 3, put the pin back, upside down, put it on top of the row before. Nest those seams, align the edges, and send it through the machine. Next row, and you can see that everything is tied together. You've got thread there and you've got thread there, and that holds the entire quilt together. Here is the next row, taking the next block off of it, repinning and putting upside down, matching up these seams. Row 6, repinning, turning upside down and putting on top of row 5. Okay, taking this one of block number 3, matching up those seams. We're almost done. This is row number 7. Block number 3, repin, turn upside down, put on the bottom. There we go. Match up these here seams. Okay, this is row number 8. Taking out upside down on top of row 7, matching up the seams. There is your whole quilt top so far. Taking it out of the machine, and here is what we have so far. See how everything stays together? Isn't that beautiful? So now when we sew rows 1 and 2 together, all we have to do is match one seam at a time. Align the edges and get this seam to match. And that's it. Sew to that point and then do this one, and so on and so forth. So now that you know the process, I'm going to turn the camera off and I will come back when I do the final column. Okay, here we are ready to do the very last column. And this is row 1, as you can see. And I've got my blocks here now. And we put that aside. And this is the final block on row 1. Again, we match up those seams. Row 1 is complete. Fluff out row 2 and match those seams. You can see I don't even start to worry about this seam until I've gotten down to the intersection here. Row 2 is complete. Now we're doing row number 3, row 4. See how easy this is? The entire quilt top is together. You can't make a mistake. Last block. Done. Now we take it out, and I'm not going to worry about ironing because I don't really need to. I'll iron the whole thing when I'm done. So here is row number 1, and here is row number 2, and everything is held together exactly where it needs to go. We're just going to flip these two over like this and begin sewing this together. And because these are tied together here, you can't screw this up. You match up your intersection, you match up your edges. You've matched that, you're holding it. You've matched up your edges. Got this intermediate that you can match up also if that helps. And now we're picking up the excess and just flipping it over there. We're making sure we're not running over things. We are taking that and we are matching that up. And this is the next intersection that we need to worry about. And everything is lined up and we go. That's done. Leave your needle down. Let's untangle this. We have that matched. The edges are aligned and we go. Done. Line that up. Everything is nested and aligned. Edges are aligned and we go. That's done. And I see here, I don't like the way this seam looks like. I cut it off kind of short. So what you do is, if you see this, it's more like 1/8 of an inch rather than 1/4. I'm going to put it back through again and make sure I have a full 1/4 inch seam there. That's much more better, as my daddy would say. That is aligned, it is nested, and go. Done. Now, this is block 6 on rows 1 and 2, and we are going to match up the edge. Pull it out, and we will take a look at what we've got here. There we go. There is rows 1 and 2, all sewn together. It looks beautiful. Intersections are spot on, if I do say so myself. I might even pat myself on the back. We are going to repeat this with row 2 and row 3. We're going to flip them over. We're going to match them up. We're going to shake out the quilt And then we take the excess, lay it over there, and now we're going to do the same exact thing that we just did. And the only thing on the planet that you have to worry about is one intersection at a time. Just one, that's all you have to worry about. Just make sure that you don't have another block stuffed under here. Make sure you're only sewing the section that you need to sew and nothing else is stuck underneath that. And you continue. And I will come back as I finish the last row. We are on the very last row and I am very happy with the way it came out. It's looking good. So let's do this last row together. Line up your edges and go. I'm lining up the edges and I'm going. Do the next intersection. Only have a couple more left. Very last one. Line up the edges. Done. Okay, I'm going to give this an iron and I will meet you over at the design wall. The quilt top is all done. I think it turned out really lovely. I think it gives it a lot of movement and it makes your eye want to continue looking and exploring the quilt. I like this one here, is real thin pink in the middle. So it's all done. I think it came out wonderful. It's a throw size. This will, and if you wanted to make it a larger quilt, you could just add some more fabric. You may need to cut more strips. So just be aware of that and make sure that you plan ahead for that so that you have enough fabric available to make your repeats. Again, if this is a 4-patch, so you need 4 repeats. And if you want to make it a much larger quilt, then you may need 8 repeats. So just measure that out, say 24 times 8, and that's how much fabric you'll need. And just remember that the larger the pattern on the fabric, the more striking these patterns will turn out to be. So I want to thank you so very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I would kindly ask that you please give the video a like and leave a kind comment down below. Your comments make my day. Not a day goes by that I don't get such sweet comments from you all, and it really means a lot to me. And I'd ask that you kindly consider coming over to Kaffe and joining me over there. I have several membership levels, exclusive patterns that I'm designing just for my members over there, and I also have lots of patterns available for sale over there in my Kaffe shop. Please also do consider joining me on Discord because I would love to get to know more of you a little bit better, and you will have access to me all the time and you can ask questions. I can help you out. So thanks so much for watching. I will see you right back here at 70 Acre Studio with our next little project. Not sure what, not sure when. You all have a very, very blessed day, a very blessed week ahead, and I will see you real soon. Take care of yourselves. I love you all so very, very much. God bless.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy.